Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a sweet, innocent, and adorable little girl. No matter where she go, she will always wear her red hood. Thus, the townspeople nicknamed her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Red Riding Hood was asked by her mother to deliver a jug of milk and a loaf of bread to her grandmother. Red Riding Hood agreed, grabs her red hood, and sets off. On the way to her grandmother's house, the big bad wolf spotted her. He approached Red Riding Hood. His claws were sheathed, jewels rolling down his lips, and his focus was dead on Red Riding Hood's throat. Red Riding Hood literally looks good enough to eat. But there was a problem. She was nothing but skins and bones. So the wolf asked Red Riding Hood politely,
"Little Red Riding Hood, where are you going with that basket of yours?"
Little Red Riding Hood responded with a sweet and squeaky voice, "To my grandma's house." The wolf suddenly had a sinister idea. A horrendous grin stretches upon his face, and he asked,
"Where is your grandmother's house? Maybe one day I too can pay her a visit."
She replied, "At the end of this path, the big brown villa on the hill."
"Well, have a safe trip,"
the wolf replied and walked away as the grin on his face gets wider and wider. Using a different route, the wolf gets down on all four and sprints towards the villa. Upon entering the villa, the wolf saw an old lady sweeping the floor. Her back was facing the wolf. It was Red Riding Hood's grandmother, and she was plump, very alone, and very appetizing. The grin on the wolf's face widens even more. The grandmother turned around, but before she could even scream, the wolf bites on her throat and slowly suffocated her. The wolf started feasting on the grandmother, but he remembered not to finish off the crops as he had something else in mind. He puts on the grandmother's clothing, prepared a meal for Red Riding Hood, and lay on the grandmother's bed, awaiting Red Riding Hood's arrival. A few minutes later, Red Riding Hood arrives and places the basket on the table. Next to the basket was a plate of something that resembles steaks and a glass of crimson red wine. "Made that for you, my dearest," says the grandmother, who is now the wolf in disguise. "Please, help yourself and make sure you finish every bite." Red Riding Hood responded, "Grandma dearest, there is a mountain of meat. However will I finish this?" The expression on the wolf changes, and he shouted with full aggression,
"You must!"
Red Riding Hood was fearful. She sat down and took the first bite. But something wasn't right. "Grandma dearest," Red Riding Hood says, "this taste is not familiar. What animal is this?" "It's goat, my dearest," the wolf responded. "Funny, it doesn't taste like goats. And I never drank wine before, but it tastes like blood," says Red Riding Hood. "My dearest Red Riding Hood," the wolf responded, "it's normal for wine to taste like blood, especially if it's your first time." Without any more questioning, Red Riding Hood finishes her meal. "Grandma dearest," Red Riding Hood said, "I am stuffed. My clothes can fit me no longer." "Throw them into the fire. You won't be needing them anymore. Come in bed with me," says the wolf. "I have something to tell you." Just as Little Red Riding Hood was about to go under the blanket, she saw his eyes and little Red Riding Hood knew something was not right again. Red Riding Hood asked, "Grandma dearest, what big eyes you have!" "All the better to see you with, my dear," says the wolf. "Grandma dearest, what big hands you have!" "All the better to seize you with, my dear," the wolf responded. And Little Red Riding Hood asked one final question. "Grandma dearest, what big teeth you have!" The grin on the wolf's face widens even more.
"All the better to eat you with."
Red Riding Hood panics and races towards the door. But it was too late. The wolf pins down Red Riding Hood and let his primal instinct take over. Red Riding Hood screams in agonizing pain as the wolf rips her apart limb by limb. As the floor and the wall gets painted crimson red with her blood, as the life in her slowly fades away.